Now battery is more charged, the space, memory is more full, how you say, more space. So this is like the example of charging battery is in creating space in the memory by deleting all these unnecessary files. The wire is like the awareness. The awareness, like, of course, in some sense we are always connected, but it doesn't help to be connected, but awareness is important. So being aware is the actual wire. Way is connected, it's connected to the base, it's called base. So our existence, through our awareness connecting to the base, we get charged. This is what is happening here. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'll just leave space for a few questions here. Okay, or maybe even from online. If anybody have questions, Polly, maybe you can. Yeah.
I wonder if a way of connecting with the inner self is by sleeping. By sleeping.
She wonders if the way to connect to your inner self can be through sleeping.
Through sleeping? Well, it's possible. It's called sleep yoga. It's possible. So, but it's not that easy, because when we follow sleep, we lose the connection. So it's a whole another training to maintain that connectedness while you're sleeping, to maintain that connectedness while you're dreaming. And that's if you're trying to do that through dream, it's called dream yoga. When you're trying to do that sleep, it's called sleep yoga. It's true. Yeah. So it's possible, yes, it's possible. So, yeah, it's possible. So let's leave it there. Yeah.
But I would say, for one little bit I know about, in a state of deep sleep, that is very similar to what we just experienced. For what I know about, what I read about the state of deep sleep, anyway. And the question I had was, the place of stillness that you mentioned, is that the same thing as what the Hindus call the self? And when you go into that deep place, would you say that is realizing the self with a capital S, what the Hindus are?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. So it's not a question about Hindu, Buddhism, Christianity. It's here we are trying to talk something not really about the idea of different religion here. You know, like, of course we can always refer back to the one they talk. Does that mean that we can say that? But yeah, this sense of when we say about I wanted to know myself, right? And knowing. So who is oneself? Oneself is not, the self is not the one who is conditioned and bounded and limited by the ignorance and emotions and pain. The self is one thing which is free from all those things. And sometimes even a lot of people get confused in Buddhism, saying, oh, Buddhism does not talk about self. Buddhism always says selfless, selfless, selfless. That's not true. In Buddhism, there is a Buddha in the scripture, there is a saying, there is no self, there is no I, no nose, no this, no that, no that. But there is a how you say, interpretation for that. It means there is no inherent self. It doesn't mean there is no self. Of course, Buddhism believes in self, but there is no inherent self. There is no independent self, imputed self. There is an imputed self that when I feel me, it's there. When I say I, for example, when I feel I am Tibetan, it's there. But that's called conventional self. But it still is a self, still existence. It exists. It's called conventional self. When I go into deep into the stillness and I've come to that place of unbounded, pervasive, indestructible, that is ultimate sense of self. That's ultimate truth. So if I connect with that, who I am, I cannot be destroyed. I cannot be changed. If I am connected with the Tibetan, we already lost our country. We are already losing our identity by generation to generation, traveling in different places. One day for sure, next few generations, there won't be anything left. So that is changeable. We're trying to say, and what changes brings suffering. And of course, that aspect, relative aspect, is always there, and you cannot ignore it, but it doesn't have to be main empowering place. I can have a car, I can have this, and all these things, it's fine. And if something is coming toward me, it's fine. I don't need to go crazy about it. So it's the same thing. So place where we're trying to connect is that place. And most of the people have very little connection to that place. That's why we suffer. And that's why the sense of protection is, if we even, whatever suffering that we have, if we get closer to that place, we feel, naturally we feel protected. Because just, it's like just imagine like hanging out with a good friend for a weekend when you're in trouble. How much it helps? But hanging out with that place, no comparison. No comparison. Yeah.